Hold on. Yeah, go ahead.
All right, we're done.
Okay, do y'all need break time though?
Yes, please.
Okay, that's cool. 27. Okay. Okay. You ready? And begin.
Hello, once again, we are here, the affirmative team is here for abolishing the death penalty. To summarize what we've said, the death penalty is it is an ineffective form of justice because it takes innocent lives, there's an unequal application, and because there is a racial disparity. We've mentioned that multiple times that there is an unequal application, that there is racial disparity in the justice system, and the negative team did not address this. I'd also like to take the story of Ndume Alatushani, an unwealthy black man who had to give 27 years of his life behind bars before he was proven innocent. Philip Alston, the United Nations independent expert on poverty and human rights, said about his case, "The death penalty is reserved for those who cannot buy themselves out of arrest, cannot afford legal representation, cannot afford a decent appeal, and carry no weight in the eyes of the government." What this means is that in our justice system, only the wealthiest and the whitest have the power to receive retribution and exoneration. And it's cases like these that we're trying to fight for. And if he had to serve 27 years, how many more have to serve almost 3 decades of their life? There are also more than a dozen cases of cruel and unusual punishment. The New York Times said that there was more than a third of execution attempts in 2022 that were mishandled. Capital punishment researchers said on Friday, describing the 7 visibly botched executions that took place in 3 states as shocking. Of the 20 execution attempts that year, they were visibly problematic, and said that 2022 could thus be labeled the year of the botched execution. Take, for example, in July, prison staff members in Atmore, Alabama, they spent hours struggling to access the veins of Joe and James. The preparations were hidden from the reporters and other witnesses who were allowed to watch the actual execution, but photographs from a private autopsy later showed that executioners had ultimately made an incision into one of his arms to access the vein, a procedure known as a cut-down. The negative team has mentioned that capital punishment must be swift and just, but this is not swift and just, especially if you have to use a cut-down. Lastly, they asked what our costs could be used for instead of the death penalty, and I would like to reiterate the quote that the average salary for a police officer is $42,000 a year. $2 million is one execution, and that $2 million translates into approximately 48 additional police officers, a far more likely and immediate deterrent to crime than one remote execution. Similarly, the same $2 million can buy thousands of bulletproof vests, provide improved lighting in high crime areas, or could be used as seed money for neighborhood watch programs. This is for the betterment of society, and the negative team says that they care about the majority, but when the majority of people vote not to have the death penalty, that's when the majority doesn't matter, and I don't think you can pick and choose.
And finally, Gracie. You ready?
Yes.
And begin.
My team spoke about the reasons that the death penalty should not be abolished. Due to the deterrence and retribution it provokes. We brought up a variety of definitions, such as the meaning of life, justice, the death penalty, and the utilitarian viewpoint. We mentioned statistics, gave examples of times when it was necessary, and used references and/or sources to back up our claims. Deterrence serves as a way to discourage people from continuing to endanger citizens and the society as a whole. Individuals who believe that they will be caught and punished will be more discouraged to commit crime than those who believe that they will not be punished. Like the first speaker mentioned, the smallest percentage of the deterrence of 9.2 provoked by the death penalty is significant, enough to keep the death penalty within our system. The idea the death penalty has the potential to deter at least one murder case can have the power to save lives. That one case can help avoid the possibility of a trauma a child, man, woman, or anyone can experience or witness. In addition, the death penalty brings fear and prevents people from being involved in heinous criminal activity, whether it is murder, sexual assault, torture, or even treason. Our other point was retribution, which is the representation of the belief of an eye for an eye. The punishment the offender receives should be equivalent to the offense committed. Essentially, a way for closure for the victims. There is no reasonable way to heal or fill in the hole the offender built, but the family can go home knowing that the offender has been prosecuted and that justice has been served as a result of the offender taking their loved one's life. The execution can ensure that the offender will not harm another person and create a victim and affect another family. Both topics contribute to the thought that the death penalty benefits victims and the majority of society. The economist Isaac Ehrlich agreed and proved by the analysis that the death penalty has the power to deter individuals from committing murder. With the use of his calculation and the FBI's information, he came to the conclusion that the death penalty was statistically important and that it did build deterrence within individuals. Now for our opponents, they spoke about injustice and how sometimes there's innocent lives taken. However, that has to do with the justice system, and we're not debating the justice system. We're debating the death penalty, which is a whole different thing. Let's see. They also brought up articles talking about police chiefs, and like we mentioned, police chiefs are not experts. They don't have any authority within the justice system like judges or even politicians have. Police are first responders, but they are not any like judges or anything like that. They also brought up a case where the injection was there was a mistake within the injection, but that is also a problem with the justice system. And just because one instance there was a mistake, it does not mean that the whole entire thing is going to be a mistake, because that one person could save a life. They also did not answer our question when it comes to like the world living in a chaos, or where we get our money from. If we did get rid of the death penalty, they said funds from where? They were never able to answer that question. And they also brought up new information when it comes to the articles with the funds. We never had the opportunity to go against that. They also spoke about how it is impossible to decide how we could decide if a person is willing or a person would be, I guess, possible to get the lethal injection, or would it be impossible to decide what person gets the lethal injection. But when it comes to cases like Gabriel Fernandez or John Wayne Gacy, which we mentioned, those are not up for question, because like Gabriel Fernandez, he was forced to eat out of litter, cat litter. He was forced to be sat in a box. He was abused. He had bruises. He went to school with those bruises. And John Wayne Gacy, he tortured, murdered a lot of men. So we believe that it is.
Time. Good job. You have to take a breather. It's over. What is this one? Do y'all have any questions or
do?
comments? Yeah.
Oh, we can.
No, I'm saying like,
Oh, because I still have more things to say.
no, just like, you know, any questions or concerns or anything like that.
Who won? Who won? Who would you think
I
that?
can't say that. I can't say
When
that.
I thought we get to know who.
Yeah, I thought that too.
I could tell that to Dr. Lane and he can communicate that with you regardless so,
Can you communicate after this?
maybe, possibly.
Cool.
So, but y'all did good overall. Everybody had good arguments. You know, the structure was well, confidence and eye contact and whatnot. Y'all dressed better than I was because when I did it, I had just jeans and a shirt. So, but are y'all freshmen or sophomores? Junior. Well, I didn't know this until after the debate, but in the union, they can rent out. Well, not really rent out, but provide suits. And for both women and men. And they can provide, what is it called? Like a professional picture for like your LinkedIn and stuff. So I didn't know that. I was like, man, you know, because I was like over here in my jeans and whatnot. So, but I mean, yeah, just for future reference, you know what I'm saying? As a student, it's provided to you for free. So, but y'all look nice, professionals, like lawyers, the future, you know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
But